because he can pick up that legend tenacity. Also picks up the unflinching as well, so just going to have so much extra tenacity. Got the glacial on the Blitzcrank as well. I feel like it's pretty normal these days, but in the past, used to go other keystones like the Aftershock or even the Predator at one point.
Minions have spawned.
Cleanse picked up by Wako. Kind of very respectful. I think pretty important, right? Topside does have a lot of CC.
Yeah, mainly for that sort of team fight stage. Obviously, you can sort of cleanse the root of Xayah, but you're not expecting for that to land too often. One interesting thing I think will be trade patterns in top. Sejuani traditionally has a really, really strong trade pattern, as does Cassante. So interesting to see who will win that one out.
Sedge does have the Ignite. I'm not sure if it'll make a big difference, to be honest. But it's certainly better than nothing, having the extra combat sum. Looks like Jungle Pass are actually opposite sides. There's a ward on the Raptors placed there by Yubao on the bot side. And I think the Blitzcrank lane, interestingly, won't be getting path towards. So gonna... Actually, very curious path. I wonder if Viego's going to do 3 camps then enter the bot river, because I feel like just weak siding this lane here to path up to your Sedge doesn't seem
Hook
to...
landed by Orca down bottom. Wako loses so much health.
He does lose cleanse and a lot of HP. I'd be really looking to put some pressure, but actually will just be Viego pathing up towards the top side. I'm interested to see what he can get done up there, because it feels kind of just like a waste to me that you're not pathing towards, you know, what is a very volatile lane in bot lane.
Yeah, now at this stage, Wako has to be so careful. If he gets hooked here, especially with level 2 now coming in for Xayah, it's so easy for him to get stunned up and killed.
Hana will just finish clearing this up. And I think you're right that if Hana were on the bot side and Orca manages to lock someone up, it's much easier to score one of those kills, especially when Marco fell so low already. So I guess Hana just wants to kind of avoid the jungler early, just keep, you know, putting camps on cooldown, scaling up, which I don't hate completely. I just think missed opportunity. But is doing perhaps the second best thing available to him. They're trying to get aggressive on the bot lane. Level 3 versus level 2 is matched now by PSG. Hana is entering the top jungle where he does have priority here currently. Sejuani finds herself getting prior and a small CS lead.
Yeah, Woody loses a lot of health, as does Orca, and importantly, Orca's mana getting very low. That rocket... Is it Rocket Hook?
I want to say it's Rocket Grab.
It is Rocket Grab, you're right. Yeah, Rocket Grab costs, I think, like 120 mana early game, so just a couple of uses of that, and you do go out of mana as Junji shows bottom, providing a bit of safety here for Wako and Woody to get this lane pushed out. Actually, Wako did use Flash, so I have to imagine he got hooked there when we went on screen.
Must have. That's pretty rough for him. Okay, yeah, looks like Orca invested Flash as well. Doesn't have the Hex Flash, which is kind of interesting. Almost always see that, but opted for the stopwatch instead. And this time they have Hana in the area, but it looks like this ward, I mean, it got cleared out, so it's not going to spot Hana. But they have another one and the wave's pushing to them, so I think PSG's bot lane, as usual, will continue to kind of be stable here.
Yeah,
They managed to deny him a cannon.
Missing Ping did go down, so they do know Hana's location. But obviously Junji's location will be found from the wards placed earlier by Viego.
Midwave is cleared out here by Yubao. Doesn't quite have the Catalyst, whereas Nesty does. So slight advantage in early items here for Nesty. Can it translate into anything? Oftentimes we've just seen the Annie with Catalyst kind of be a non-factor for a lot of the early game. But Nesty, I mean, he likes to get active on the map, can at least provide some CC. Trades now, maybe starting to go back the way of Cassante. Finds himself with a small CS lead. Also hasn't reset yet. Somehow Sedge reset without even using TP. Must have been a cheater recall or something.
Yeah, Sedge does have quite a lot of pushing power, I feel, in that early stage with her whip. Okay.
Bungia pinks the drag. Would be pretty surprised to see it started up. Think you want to try and avoid these river fights. Maybe taking a mid-jungle 2v2 is fine, but I think involving other members probably isn't the best. Want to just allow your team to keep scaling up. If you can get Aphelios to one item, I think you're feeling very, very good about the game state. Orca is just going to pass. Okay, actually going to pass aggressively through river. Sweeps out. Jinjia could be in trouble.
Yeah, Jinjia has to be careful here. And I think it's good sort of pairing the Blitzcrank up with this Viego to get some pressure around both mid and the river. Get some vision down and allow, or ensure that nothing sort of sneaky is going on. But Hook does go wide as 4 members of PSG do collapse down here. Ubel does use Tibbers. Nesty has one available too. Ubel will get stunned up, and it just looks like a Tibbers trade here. Both mid laners getting quite low, and with Nesty having that catalyst, you do have to kind of favour the trade for her, as well as her ult will be a lot shorter cooldown for her.
I think in the long term, it's probably better for Nesty, but in the short term, this drag, it's going to be very difficult to contest without Aniol, whereas Silas is still a very competitive champ here.
Yeah, Gravitum is used, does land the snare onto Cascada, who does use heal in return. So good gain of the summoner there for the bot lane of PSG, but Dragon's still going to be extremely hard to do anything with, as Woody smartly doesn't walk any further forward.
2 bears are just battling, but Silas's Build-A-Bear does go down a little earlier. Has a small CS lead for himself. I think it might have just been because Nesty kind of gave up some of these creeps to try and roam into the river.
Kind of surprising though, right? You expect maybe Ubal would get pressured off a few of those early creeps and be at a slight disadvantage, but in fact going the other way as Arzi dodges out of that whip. Will he land the knock up?
Top laners don't deal damage to each other, but deal 1 million damage to everyone else. Must be a hidden buff that Riot's got in there. Jinjia will pick up this red. Maybe now focus goes towards the Herald for both teams. Feels like Dragon is pretty hard to kind of invest into. Orca is playing behind Nesty mid.
Yeah, and I want to know how much money does Wako have? Like, he hasn't gone back in so long, Xayah having Noonquiver pickaxe to his longsword.
Yeah, must be sitting on a lot of gold. Can they trade bot? It feels like the trade's pretty late. I don't think they... Yeah, no, I don't think they ever spotted Blitzcrank either. So they didn't even know, or maybe they knew, but with not great certainty that Orc was missing. They are going to get 1 plate, but it's shared. Eyes now will be on what can be done with this Herald. I think DCG come out a little bit on top, though.
Yeah, and if PSG can get 1 more wave in, you'd have to think because Woody hasn't left lane as much, he might hit level 6, which can turn the tide of a Dragon fight.
It's being started up, and Nesty has to answer mid. I think this should be first drag going the way of PSG. I wonder where this Herald goes this game. I think bot lane might be the best place for you to put it. Taking a long time.
I do agree, or like... I mean, again, we're in another game where it's hard for your lanes to sort of get pressure and make good use of this Rift Herald again. Like, top, you have to feel is just going to sit somewhere in the middle of lane most of the time. And Aphelios with Renata, I mean, the range versus melee again, they do tend to push more often than not.
They certainly do. Ubal moving in. Taking away just a little bit of that vision. And he is potentially gankable on this lane. They have members nearby, which does have flash though. Not going to look to anything, just going to try and push in the wave a little bit. Both mids building the Rod of Ages, so don't want to fight too much early. At the same time, if they get an opportunity to pick up kills, they'll certainly take it.
Yeah, hostile takeover is available now for this Renata.
Yeah, Hunter is around mid.
You know what? There's so much positioning to fight and so little fighting.
Yeah, nothing's really happening, at least for now. Just kind of trading vision back and forth. She's still 0-0 at 10 minutes.
Yeah, and who do you favor? I mean, like, when games go like this, you have to start sort of favoring the team with better scaling. And for me, at least, I feel like... Honestly, it's extremely even. I mean, each position, you feel like Aphelios outscales almost every champion in the game, the later the game goes. I mean, Silas, no slouch. I think he outscales Annie, but then Viego also scales incredibly well.
I'm not sure I thought Viego... Ooh, can he make a play bot? Hook comes out.
Hook does miss as well as Orca gets pulled in. Goes berserk, hit with Moonlight Vigil. Lives due to that heal, luckily enough. But, man, good dodge out there on the flash hook by Wako.
Yeah, Wako didn't even have to trade flashes. He just straight got the hook. I think scaling should go the way of PSG. I think it's really hard for Viego to scale in this game up against what is most likely going to be a lifesteal ADC later on, and then the Renata as well. Also, I think Sedge Top is probably mega outscaled by Cassante, but we'll have to see. I think it's definitely close enough that it will just come down to team fighting skill, but I'd perhaps give the slight edge to PSG.
Yeah, and I think Dragon also already been taken from them. If they can start stacking that, that's also a huge factor as well. But Viego, obviously, he has that factor where if you manage to kill someone that's fed, you become them, so that's always exciting.
Blood of Ages is now completed for Yubao, and it hasn't been completed for Nesty, who did opt for those tier 2 boots early, so it's going to be a little delayed. Herald goes down bot, and actually it looks like it's going to be a fair amount of gold. Yeah, nice bit of gold there picked up. In DCG, they have themselves a small gold lead here. It's definitely not amazing, but it's better than nothing. And it is on the right people, I'd say. And got the Gale Force on the Xayah very early in the game.
Yeah, that's a huge pickup. Obviously doesn't have the tier 2 boots. Kind of a similar situation as we have mid right now. But 1 minute and a half of Dragon come up, and you have to think that might be somewhere we begin to see more committed fighting. I mean, even one hook from Orca landing can really change how this early game has gone. He does recall. I think they're preparing to sort of get vision around here.
I think next fight could be really, really interesting, right? There is a lot of engage from both teams, so when a fight eventually does happen, it can happen pretty explosively, very, very quickly. And I think this next Dragon in 1 minute is probably going to be the first sort of group team fight of the game. Will we actually see the top laners involved? I'm not too sure. But for the rest of them, you have to think they're looking for some sort of fight around this second Dragon.
Ana will be spotted. Kubal dashes away there. And you said there the next fight, but what I think you meant is actually the first fight.
Certainly does seem that way. 0-0 still at 13 minutes. Okay, he is controlling a lot of this vision. I mean, it's great setup here for DCG. They've got all 4 members on the bot side in that bot river. So it seems like they're pretty committed to this. Don't want to play for the Herald or something instead. Reset's actually coming out of the PSG mid-jungle. I wonder if they're just going to give this one up or if they're going to try late contest.
Yeah, teleport available for Silas, so I feel like if they're contesting that would be used, but isn't yet. And they don't really have... I mean, to be honest, DCG aren't even headed that way.
Yeah, I think probably don't know that both of them reset. So still just looking to control the area. I wouldn't be surprised to see them start it up after they get both waves of prior here, mid and bot. They're collapsing, but PSG, they had the opportunity to spend all their gold, so as strong as they can possibly be at this fight.
Yeah, and it could have a massive Renata ult here, as well as whatever ult Silas chooses to take, which I imagine is most likely going to be Blitzcrank.
Argent's here first. In fact, didn't even need a TP, just walked down from top.
Yeah.
TP comes in from Hanabi.
And this has the potential to be a massive fight. Junjia, again, great use of the clone. He's really showing his proficiency on this champ. This started up slowly but surely as Aze is coming through here. You have to be really worried. And it's the first time the top laners have been seen in this game.
I wonder if Yubao will just get picked on the side. Doesn't look like it.
Wako got perfect guns for this, you have to say. And Dragon gets stolen there by Viego, but a massive fight erupts. First blood over to Sejuani. Traded back, though, by Aze. Chris Garner in a curious position as Orca goes down very low here. Seems like they're trapped in the pits. Yubao picks up another kill. Aze goes forward, going all out still. Doesn't quite hit the knock-up onto Sejuani in the top side. Is continuing forward, goes unstoppable. Can he get the knock-up here? Yubao will find another kill as Nesty does get hit by a knock-up as well.
Wow, they managed to get so much more off that fight than I thought they would. The Dragon was picked up there by DCG, but I think just, yeah, managed to get Hanabi at the end and probably shouldn't have been able to. Now 2 kills onto Yubal's Silas. Very important pickup. I'm not even sure how this fight started. It feels like everyone just kind of walked up to the dragon.
Yeah.
Yubal did have a pretty nice flank here. I was a bit worried he might just get picked before the fight actually starts, but played on his range well. And then here, I mean, the dragon was getting very low. Jinjia also not that tanky here. Only has the Sundra. So went in, got a pretty good knock on him. The Renata was really good. But Jinjia pretty much just died to Hanabi almost instantly. But once again, time and time again, we've seen if too many tools are used on the front line, if you don't have anything left to actually deal with the damage dealers afterwards, you can quickly find yourself just kind of getting cleaned up after. Which is exactly what happened here. I mean, Hanabi was out. I'm not even sure why he turned back around, but did get taken out.
Yeah, now we see sort of the fruits of their labor. The the Rift Herald will be going down to the side of PSG, so maybe able to start looking at potentially taking that mid tower, open up the map.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see it use top. And geez, perhaps playing for something. Feels pretty unkillable though. Maybe they can look to gank Annie on the way through, but there's a lot of members around. Oh, he did actually get the Grom, plus 70 in the bank.
Yeah, huge win. Now, Divine Sunder is completed for Wukong versus the Black Cleaver of Viego. So you'd have to give the favor to Junjie if those two ever met up and started scrapping.
Yubal walks back towards top here. Does not yet have the TP. Can just look to keep pushing in those top waves though. Actually has a CS lead, which, you know, while not very big at this point, it's substantial just because you're expecting Silas normally to just be down CS, especially down CS into Annie, who does punish melees pretty well. But, you know, with the first strike build, you're not the strongest champ in lane, and also Nessie not particularly known for laning either. And 2 minutes away from what is our next dragon. That one will also be spawning pretty much the same time as Baron. So if someone wins that fight fairly decisively, could see Baron looked at immediately after.
Yeah, and both teams also importantly do have quite a lot of damage onto that Baron if you know, there is the opportunity for that too. So you do have to be mindful of both objectives at the same time. As we see Wako actually first in gold this game, which honestly surprises me a little with the fact that Silas did pick up 2 of those kills.
That is pretty crazy. I mean, I guess maybe just picked up a few extra plates or something?
Yeah, it has to be plates. He's down in minions as well, so I guess that's... I mean, yeah, his tower's gone. It was probably first tower and he might have got solo gold, so I guess it makes sense, all things considered.
This kind of wave clearing a storm on the mid wave. Will anyone's second item be completed here for this next drag? I'm not too sure. It doesn't look like anyone's super close. I think Yubal might be sitting on a lot of gold though. 1 minute on the drag. We'll have to spend it sooner rather than later. Junjie is going to come to clear out some of this vision. And I wonder now, do you look to start setting up this vision early, or do you want to just trade and try and increase your gold lead? It's only second drag for either team, so it's not the end of the world if you give it over. In fact, if you could get a good trade for it, you'd probably take it. I think it's too early still to trade Baron for Dragon. But perhaps at the next one, could be an option.
I think importantly too, you want to see going into this Dragon fight, knowing now that Wako has the most gold in his team, or in the game in fact, what guns he'll have available to him. I think he's using all of his abilities as much as possible on the mid wave there, trying to swap them out. You have to imagine he's probably aiming for red-white.
Probably. He is resetting, buys a BF sword, so is much, much stronger. DCG though, looking like they have the better position. 2 rods completed for... Well, 2 needlessly large rods, sorry, completed for Nesty. Only has 1 Rod of Ages. But it does actually have quite a lot of AP for this fight, and they have a great position. I mean, I'm kind of liking DCG's area here. It's pretty hard to face check this, especially into the Blitzcrank.
Sejuani ult, however, taken by Yubao, and that's a really valuable ult to have. I mean, look at how squishy Orca still is at this level 7 Blitz. If you landed on him, he's probably just going to go straight down. Really nice channel there by Aze to not get pulled.
Yeah, they end up actually giving their control back, which I think is a mistake. Mid lane's going to get heralded. They might be able to kill it in time if PSG don't back it up. Yeah, it looks like it will just be taken out for free here. Oh, nope, does not.
Orca does land the hook on Arze, but catches a Glacial Prison in return. Wako definitely not the guns he wants here. Probably trying to get rid of this purple gun as soon as he can.
It's just a 5v5 ARAM for the mid-wave. Everyone kind of wants the first move into this dragon. And having mid-wave is that first step.
Arze's just so tanky. He's not afraid to sort of stand in the front line. And Junjia here looking for a sort of flank, but won't find it yet. Cascada very hard to lock down.
It actually trades fairly decent damage back. Still kind of the war for this pink ward. Yubao finishes stacking his Rod of Ages, now level 14. And this is a long dragon dance. I mean, both sides have been ignored for so long. Midwave is still being cleared, so we're not... Okay, engage.
Yeah, Hanabi walks forward and does literally take almost no damage. Flash Tibbers there, does get cleansed out by Wako, and Wako has the perfect guns. Look at him hit away on this back line. They are trading kills well though here, DCG, as Cascada finds an amazing flash Gale Force feather pullback, and DCG are just going to win this fight.
I mean, that's it. I don't even know how this happened, but that should maybe be a Baron. I mean, the health bars are low, but Hanabi STP, Nesty STP. Actually, look how low they are. Nesty and Hanabi both come out of that fight with 1 health, and they get a miracle teamfight win. Yubao is actually TPing back in, so he's going to do what he can to try and 1v5 this. He's face checking though.
He is high in health. He's losing a lot of health very fast though. Does manage to land the chain and will shut down Cascada there, importantly. Goes down in the backside, but without Cascada up, you don't have Baron damage, and you're just going to have to go look towards this dragon, although 4 now alive for the side of PSG.
I think if that had been played a little cleaner at the end there by DCG, they might have just been able to pick up that Baron, but they still come away with a huge teamfight win.
Really want to watch these feathers at the end.
I mean, yeah, the initial engage from Nesty I thought was pretty decent. I mean, it did a lot of damage, even if there wasn't great follow-up for it. Have a look at it. Yeah, so comes forward, flashes in, lots of damage on the Wako, you know, forces him back. Renato was really good. I'm not even sure what happened here. I think there just wasn't quite enough damage. Wako was doing what he could. Yeah, really nice by Cascada at the end. Now we have another fight.
We have another fight around Dragon. Dragon is now taken by the side of PSG, and it looks like nothing will become of it. Just 64 damage from Sedge.
This tower on mid lane is picked up. Once again, game remains fairly even, all things considered. I mean, slight gold lead here for the side of DCG. How much can they do with it, though? Maybe they can look to break this top tier 1. It's been kind of getting away from them for a while. Nesty will have Rabadons for next fight. Just going to be very big, especially with the Rod of Ages. You know, you get stacked up here with AP very, very quickly. Lots of pings coming out. They're trying to engage in Cascada.
Cascada will not be found by the Moonlight Vigil and will just use his ult to get away, but that is a massive cooldown down. That's your really only survival mechanism as this Xayah, particularly with Sums and Gale Force on cooldown as well.
Always has a million life still though. No worries. I think this game still kind of rests on a knife's edge. I want to say it might even be favored to DCG at the moment. Obviously they're up 2.5k gold, but the item spikes that just came through, the Rabadon's on the ante, although Infinity has just completed on Wako. They're picking towards this top jungle. Perhaps want to find engage or just take control and set up Baron.
Getting control there, and ceding control against a Blitzcrank always makes the game a lot harder. Obviously never know where he is, and it just means that anyone squishy can never really walk up.
Hanabi, you know, has just honestly done pretty well in the Sedge, right? Oftentimes I think people kind of struggle to pick into Cassante. Can just very easily either end up becoming useless or just actually losing the 1v1. But has kept things pretty much even, and obviously his team fought very, very well. Kraken Slayer and the Black Cleaver now completed for Hana on the Viego. Be interesting to see his damage at the end of the game. It's hard to tell, you know, how much damage Viego is doing in fights, I think. A lot of it can just come from when you manage to get that first kill, start using extra skills, resetting.
Yeah, it almost feels like on that champ, you just aim to get an assist and then take over the team fight.
Yeah, very rarely the first kill is actually yours. Frescata, I mean, they're getting really aggressive. They might be playing to kill Yubao on top, who does not have flash, but he has Zhonya's. Doesn't look like they're going to commit to it. It does mean that they give up some of the purchase on this mid wave.
Complete prio in top river here by DCG as Hanabi comes to ensure this mid tower doesn't receive any damage. Ozzy is hooked here. He is getting very low, but will you kill this unstoppable? You will not actually. And as we see Junji land a 3-man knock up into a 4-man is going to be slain by Hana. Can he get that reset? Junji does, sorry, not Junji, Orca does flash and miss the rocket grab. But again, on a knife's edge, Hana taking that Wukong. Man, these fights are so close.
They are, and I wouldn't expect DCG to be the team contesting PSG in team fights, right? Here they are actually TPing in. They know Junji is dead, and there's a 5v4. Flash early.
Hana is going to find a kill now onto Woody, and that is now 2 down. RB and Yubao and Wako, importantly, all here. There is a good front line for Wako, but definitely not ideal guns. He does have blue gun, which can allow for a lot of extra damage, as we're seeing here. Aze is stunned up, will go unstoppable as Yubao's on the back, has blitz ult. Huge amount of damage found, but there is no more follow-up. Aze will be going extremely low as Yubao goes down. First reset for the Viego. Man.
And I think that'll be DCG picking up the Baron. I mean, Junji is around. He could perhaps look to steal something.
Yeah, it does have Smite, can clone into that pit. Hanabi really looking out for this, though. Will he get it? Glacial Prison goes wide.
Wow.
No, the Dragon does go the side of DCG, and they've got a huge foothold on this game, and they're looking like they're going to be able to pressure.
Yeah, I mean, they have a 5,000 gold lead. They have the Baron. They're not too worried about the drag win condition, at least not yet. They have all the relevant things they need to win this game and stop PSG's win streak, which would make things really interesting, right? Because it could potentially mean that, I mean, I guess PSG would have to lose some other games, but you could end up even with a 3-way tie for first once again. PSG has good head-to-head, so it might be difficult, but this could be the start of something like that. And also would not only mean that DCG kind of cement their place in playoffs, but also just a great kind of confidence builder coming into the playoff matches.
Yeah, you got to think beating the team that is what is essentially undefeated since the inclusion of Junjia is really going to add to your confidence headed towards these playoffs. And Kraken Slayer is the pickup from the Viego, so utilizing that additional crit given to the champion as Azi getting sort of engaged on, will dodge out of everything by just a mere sliver.
Tower's getting low. Yubao's actually trying to trade on the other side of the map, knows he can't wave clear with the team, so instead just looking for some sort of split push. While tower goes down, Nesty works on mid as well, and that one goes down too. So 2 towers there picked up. Take a look at this replay. So yeah, I guess Woody just showed an award. Didn't really realize, got flashed on. After that, fight becomes really difficult. I think if Woody were alive, this actually, PSG probably could have just pushed them off it. I think he probably didn't need to do that. But then, yeah, I've seen this before, to be fair. I understand what the PSG 3-man are thinking. You know, Wako, he typically 1v9 to these Baron fights. But there's just so much front line for him to get to. I mean, how many orders does he put into Hanabi without anything really coming of it, right? He's just so tanky at this point. Wako hasn't reached the point where he can just delete people. Baron was ultimately picked up.
He has Last Whisper now, so headed towards that LDR, and as you talked about, he'll get to that position where he will be able to sort of delete people, so... I mean, PSG are not yet out of this game, although they have made it hard for themselves. And we see an initiation here onto Hana. Ult is used to get away. Renata ult will not hit Kriskata. It will be ulted away from. Sorry, Ozzy's just deleted there, and Hanabi and Yubao really just wet noodle fighting it for now. Yubao will have to flash away from both the ult of Hanabi and any more follow-up auto attacks, but getting chased down now, and he's a lot slower than Hana.
Yeah, he can keep wasting their time. I think he will ultimately go down. He does have TP. I don't know if he can get it off, though.
Yeah, and Hana will get speed up from all these bushes due to that jungle item, so... I mean, this is extremely... He does have to be careful. Maybe Yubao can turn on a kill. Goes Just
Ooh.
denying time. Honestly, good job by Yubel here.
Yeah, he's wasting so much of their time right now.
And you have to feel like this, just even if they get this kill, which they inevitably probably will, it's just not worth it. There's so much more that could have potentially been done. I mean, Baron has now timed out and they didn't get any objective.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I guess they could have taken like a lot of jungle camps, maybe broken that top tier 2. Wasn't the worst though. It's not like there was any major objectives up. Yubel, he is working on the Rabadons, but I don't think it'll be in time for the next dragon fight. And DCG, I think they're really starting to pull ahead. I'd be pretty surprised. It really comes down to how Wako can play these team fights. And admittedly, betting against Wako doesn't go well for you. This guy, I mean, he's extremely fed and obviously like very, very confident. He's got the 3 items, which is basically all that he needs.
Yeah, after this, it's sort of just complementary stats. Like, do you want the sort of healing from Bloodthirster or some survivability, maybe a QSS? Does have the cleanse, so less likely. But he does have the exact 3 items he would want headed towards this upcoming dragon fight, which you feel like both teams are probably going to want to contest. But first, we have top tower likely going down as PSG are not in position to really defend that at all.
Yeah, it looks like it will just be broken here. BCG, I mean, they have themselves a massive gold lead. I'm just going to work on this bot tower, and there isn't anyone to stop him. He doesn't know that, though. He doesn't have the vision that we do. It's just going to look to back off. Also, doesn't really have a whole lot of magic resist. It's just itemizing up against the ADs here, which means Nesty, who has 3 items, is going to deal a lot of damage to pretty much everyone here. 1 minute on what is the 3rd drag, and despite this not being like a game-winning fight, it could well become that just based off DCG can push down so fast. If they can get a couple kills, could be looking at Baron, could be looking at an end even.
Yeah, 3 items does come across for the entire top side and AD carry of DCG, whereas Wukong, only the 2 in a stopwatch. Azi's still not yet quite finished with what I believe will be Randuin's. And then, I think most importantly, Deathcap, not picked up yet by Yubel. So, headed towards this fight, PSG at a major disadvantage, and maybe you just give it, honestly. Glacial Prison doesn't connect onto Orca, and he will just happily walk away.
I think
Nesty looking here.
he wants it.
Yeah, does have the
Shrella's
flash.
Nothing else comes of it, at least for now. But the Shrelia's being down does actually make a pretty big difference. Much harder to disengage from what will just be Annie's next speed up with her E.
Yeah, and Baron started by Hana.
This goes down so fast.
PSG did see them heading here, so they should know. And they are looking to contest. A ward will be put in the pit. They'll see it. DCG will disengage. Flash hook lands onto Junji's clone. Man, that guy is so good with the clone usage. As Azi is looking possible. Well, Yubel almost dodges out of the Tibbers. Doesn't quite. As he claims the Tibbers for his own. Wako does have perfect guns here. What can he get done on the back line? Orca extremely low. And we are seeing Hana being taken down by both Yubel and Junjia, but he's just so tanky. Junjia now, again with fantastic clone usage, as Yubel's on 1 HP. Flash committed now, and ult from Chris Carter, so does have to be careful as Junjia sneaks a kill in the back. Wako now playing with the 2 fantastic guns, all out by Azi. Zaya's going to go down, doesn't have anything left. And now Hanabi trying to salvage up to the top, and well, Wako's just doing so much damage down the bottom. There is so much going on in these team fights.
Time and time again, PSG, they just managed to win team fights that they shouldn't. And off the back of this, what can they get? I think it could be the Baron. And what is looking like an unwinnable game for PSG is now looking suddenly very winnable. They're going to pick up this Baron. It looks like they can pick up the Dragon as well. And maybe, after all, PSG just are unbeatable.
Yeah, never bet against Wako. You just had said it. And honestly, I mean, in that fight, so much happened. I think a couple of clutch clones from Wukong. I'm sure we'll see a replay in just a moment. But yeah, a couple of really clutch clones as the replay comes in here.
Yeah, the initial engage doesn't go the best. Nesty also, fails to find any of the squishies, right? Hits 2 tanks, but Wako, most importantly, does not have to burn his cleanse, which I think is a big win to begin with. I'm just outputting a lot of DPS. And then I think on the side, Hanabi took up so much damage here. I mean, he soaked both Wukong ults and didn't even really get close to dying. And this looked pretty good here. After dodging the Renato, Cascada, he does so much damage to Yubao, but look at what happened after. He mistimed this. Instead of insta-killing Yubao, took so much damage on the side, and then wasn't healthy enough to actually deal with Arja, who just came and killed him. So I have to feel like if that Feathers had been timed a little bit better, perhaps could have won that fight.
Yeah, you're completely right. As we see the Dragon Dance starting for the 5th time this game. Wako with a massive Bloodthirsty shield. Arzi is engaged on 2, does get extremely low. Wukong confirms the Dragon as Junjia gets hit by Glacial Prison, and there will be a disengage. So, man, all of these fights are just on such a small sliver of health for so many people.
Now, I'm still a minute and 40 seconds on this Baron. So PSG can actually take a lot of gold back. They've clawed back what was, I think, a 7k gold deficit at some point to now only, 2k or so. They're feeling pretty good about this. Looks like resets will just come through. Can just spend all their gold, maybe knock down this mid-tier 1 before the Baron ends.
Yeah, it'll be roughly the same time, maybe a minute difference, I think, between both the Dragon and Baron. And so, I mean, either one of those, it's Dragon Soul for PSG, not quite for DCG, so a lot more value for PSG if the Dragon does come up and there's a trade, but for now, they really need to work on getting this mid lane outer. Can't believe how long this has stayed up, 37 minutes now.
Yeah, they just have a lot of wave clear and the Heralds weren't used on it.
Glacial Prison goes wide.
Can they not even break it with Baron? Maybe they can't. Just a 5v5 on mid prevents it from happening. Zaya's so safe and has so much wave clear. Cascada can just continually clear out these waves. I think we might just be seeing a 4th Dragon and even beyond that, an Elder.
Again, Junjia with such nice usage of that Wukong clone.
This tower, I mean, it's being sieged. This is their last wave of Baron, their last chance to break it, at least for a few more minutes. And I don't think they're able to.
No, it doesn't appear so.
Wave is cleaned up. Gold difference was pretty substantial, but now remains pretty close. And it looks like it'll be 3 more minutes until the fireworks again.
Yeah, this game has kind of just on repeat been that Dragon Dance. As look at Wako, he's ahead, what is that, 1k on Cascada, who's 2nd, and then really just showing that this guy is currently 1v9ing the game, where his rest of his team is so far down in comparison.
Yeah, he is kind of single-handedly winning these team fights for his team. The other members certainly doing what they can, but it's the Wako show. Both objectives actually spawn at the same time, so there could be some sort of Dragon Baron trade coming up here.
There's the thing, maybe, I don't know, what would PSG even go for? That we just saw them with that Baron, and they got, I think, 1 bot tower, and that was it, I believe. So not making good usage out of it. I mean, it's just so hard to walk up against the likes of the Annie and Blitzcrank and Sejuani, while Zaya insta-clears your waves.
Yeah, I think they did have pretty bad tempo on the Baron last time, so perhaps couldn't get as much done as they'd like. Wouldn't be surprised to see them just play for the soul. At the same time, really don't want to give over the Baron, so they're going to have to make sure it's warded. It can die very easily for both teams here. Feels like Baron might just be a glorified cannon minion at this point, which goes down so quick to the ADC DPS. Only a minute 20 now. Control currently favors DCG. Junjia is doing what he can to kind of reclaim it. Yubao's about to show tops. That should be DCG taking control of this mid wave, taking control of all the vision they want. Maybe even fishing for some sort of engage.
Where do you even look? Yubao is going to be teleporting now to this tower. Very smart, actually. He had such a large collapse. All 5 DCG members were headed up there. Gets away. They've got priority around the Dragon, but do they really want to give over Baron for the Cloud Soul? I think if it was a different soul, you possibly look to do so, but perhaps not as much value.
Yeah, I think this game probably just want to match whatever DCG want to do. Just trying to play for that 5v5. Try not to give over any objective you don't have to. I think the team fight is very winnable for both sides still.
Yeah, and I feel like for both sides, it's really, really AD carry versus AD carry. We're at that stage of the game. Glacial Prison only just misses, which is a huge amount of engage here for the PSG. Woody also almost hit. Flash Tib is there. Ozzy is getting pulled into the team. Extremely tanky. Will they be able to take him down? They will. That is going to be a reset here for Viego as Wako tries to kite them out. He has 1 HP now, but gets so much return damage. Actually finds the kill there on Sedge and Xayah. Yubel now going off. Does manage to get killed, does Wako. Hana doing a good job to find that. Won't be able to get the reset, however, and will go down as well. So I don't exactly know what unfolded just there. It looked like PSG were going to lose. Wako turned around and did 8,000 damage to every member, and they won.
They just can't keep getting away with them, man. Every fight looks so doomed for PSG, and then somehow, some way, they just managed to come out on top. I think you're right. Wako living there on 1 HP actually allowed him to trade so much damage back. Looks like that mid-tier one finally fell. Now 4th Dragon picked up for side of PSG, and I still honestly feel like it's anyone's game, but let's have a look at what on earth happened in this fight. So I think RJ pretty much died for free at the start. Really nice engage from Nesty. Put a lot of damage on Wako and made the fight very difficult for him to play. Nice kite back here from the side of PSG. And what happened? Because it looked like Cascada, he got Wako so low, but the Renata ult was incredible. Followed up by the Aphelios ult, dealing just so much damage here. I think maybe if Cascada just played it a bit slower, but at the same time, he was so low, right? Had to feel confident that Wako was just going to die there and it would just be a one-team fight for those inches.
I agree, but also Junji hitting a Kongyue-esque like 4-man Cyclone too, as we see. Well, we see actually Woody gets hooked over the side. Massive find there. Wako is hitting in the back though. Currently he is not threatened. Finds a massive Moonlight Vigil as RZ looks like he will be going down. Man, Wako almost kills Orca there, just solo. And my goodness, these fights are so close.
Yeah, it did 6,000 damage in that fight. Woody just got picked by a stray hook. And that's kind of the power of Blitzcrank. And there's late game team fights. Sometimes one pick onto a squishy can just mean lights out just like that. But Wako, as long as Wako lives, it's always going to be very difficult for DCG to take anything extra after the fight. It's because he does so much damage, can kind of stop a lot of these plays from happening if the threats are gone.
Kind of surprising how little Ozzy did. I mean, he was in the middle of them with... Does he not have Sunfire? I swear even if he had Sunfire, it doesn't look like he does, but 75 damage he managed to find, but Baron started up here by DCG.
I think they're going to get it. Woody is still far away.
Nice unstoppable. Junji looking. Orca is stunned up. Does only just live. Baron, however, found by DCG. Can they get out? Yubel takes a lot of damage by Feathers there as Ozzy is stunned up again. And Woody loses so much health too. Junji getting so low. I feel like PSG have to back out here. Otherwise, I mean, actually Wako's full HP, so maybe he can just do it.
What am I watching, man? The Baron was just picked up by DCG there, and PSG, they really tried their best to get in there, but it's just so hard. And this game, I feel like one of the most intense games we've had, especially because it's so close to playoffs. I think we were saying last week, you know, imagine if we have something like 5 games of this, but I mean, man, give me some more, because this is insane, especially from a game that we kind of expected would be, you know, not this close.
No, certainly not. And honestly, it's hard to know who's going to win now. Everyone kind of approaching 5 items, and no one goes down in these team fights unless everyone does. So even when there is a team fight win, nothing's really gained from it for the most part, as Sejuani yet again taken it. Hanabi just sitting in the thing, realizing he will never die.
Now, can they really do anything with this Baron? They're only sieging 1 lane, so still trying to play for the 5v5. I don't think they're going to really be able to do anything, and Baron will expire before Elder, so I think we might just be playing for that instead.
we're going over to another objective. So I do agree with you. I mean, it's so hard to push. At the moment, Ophelios having that blue gun, it's akin to sort of Zaya's wave clear. So either team getting Baron sort of leads to the waves getting cleared, and it's so hard for either... Hold up, we do see an engagement onto Orca, as Arzi does another great unstoppable to avoid being hooked in there, and I think it's just a trade of 2 Sejuani ults.
Hey, better trade than nothing. 2 more minutes on Alder, which surely should be the final fight of the game. But I think we've said that about a few fights this game, so...
Yeah, and honestly, like, even if PSG win, they've got so many towers yet to get through as well, so I have a feeling even if they get it, there'll be a few members survive, and we'll see another 5 minutes. How long is Alder? 7?
I think it's 6, 5. We'll find out soon.
Yeah, we sure will.
Oh,
we see Orca gets Arze again, but hard for anyone to hit in that little choke there, and it will be disengaged from. If Arze chooses, can recall to get some health back, but 1 minute for the Dragon should be fine.
Thinking about more, I'm pretty sure it is just 5 minutes, like a regular Dragon. Okay, 1 minute away. DCG currently in firm control. Their Baron just expired though, so it's going to be much harder to maintain control of those waves just in proximity.
Man, it's really on a knife's edge, this game.
I think it has been for a very long time. I wonder how the players feel. I mean, extremely intense game. Both of them playing for, what's pretty important here, honestly. Jinjie, he has a flank. Riscata. Been looked at.
And 30 seconds on the Elder Dragon. So finding a pick here will almost certainly result in claiming Elder, but a nice bit of poke onto Riscata as they look for Wako. Hanabi goes on the side there to Jinjie. Will get out of there. Mercury treads for that tenacity. As Wako now just walking forward, feels completely fine doing so. Yubao now joining as well, has that Glacial Prison yet again, as we've seen so often this game.
Jinjie looks like he's fine. Okay, can they find... They've kind of split up DCG at least a little bit. Okay, Hanabi rejoins the team. Now it's just a straight 5-5 standoff. Elder has 20,000 health.
I think that's the most health I've ever seen it with, at least recently.
It actually melts though.
Yeah, and actually importantly, Inhibitor Tower goes down to minions here on the side of PSG, so something to be wary of. Minions doing quite a lot of damage as the game sort of progresses, and they will hit this Dragon, but you don't think anyone's going to really commit to it. And
I swear this is it, man. 5 people die on one side here, surely, depending on who picks up this Elder. Might even see a fight before it starts. I think keep your eyes on Nesty.
Initiation here onto Orca. He will go down immediately. What else can be found though? Nesty does flash away. Nice knock up by Jinjie, and Wako will find him. However, will he be able to survive? He is freely hitting on the back. Nice moonlight visual as Cascada picks up 3.
My God, are you telling me this is not the last fight of the game? It actually might not be.
It is jungle ADC versus jungle ADC, and Wako being able to hit this Elder. You do like his ability to lifesteal. Not the greatest guns though for a 2v2.
Oh, Cascada's lifestealing off the Krugs is actually going to come back before this Elder gets low.
Wako has the red gun, will get stunned up, cleanse is used, and Cascada goes down. You have to think now Hana will be going down as well. Is running away for now, but flash from Wako will find the kill, and we do have an ace. Although it took so long, we are now going to have people spawning as soon as Elder's taken.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll try to delay this Elder. I feel like you don't. Probably just pick it up and then walk to Baron.
Maybe you wait for at least Woody?
No, I don't think it's worth it. I think... Ooh, okay.
Waiting. It actually resets, so going to have to do some work on it again.
I guess giving the AoE to Renata is pretty nice.
Yeah, and I guess
they're in no hurry to get Baron with other members dead.
Now, I don't know if you've ever seen this. I certainly haven't. If you have Elder's Renata and you ult a team, are they going to execute themselves? Probably not, right?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, neither. Well, I guess maybe we'll find out as Elder is picked up finally by PSG in what was probably the closest team fight we've had so far.
Yeah, I mean, this was crazy. It started off pretty well for PSG. I feel like The overchase here, though, into Cruscada's feathers, who just, you know, managed to massacre the team with this. I mean, look how much damage comes in from this. I wonder how much damage was dealt with that ability alone. Baron is taken here by PSG, and they have the Elder on 3 members. If they can't end it here, how can they? It's just so insane. I feel like there's almost no point playing 3 lanes either. I think you just bulldoze down mid and hope you can do something. Look at the ADCs, man. Both of them dealing more than 10,000 damage.
That is actually insane. Everyone else is just a minion to these guys at this point.
They certainly are. Okay, this is it. Can they siege this tower? I think they can.
Yeah,
SC's still bot.
Now, what's the timer on this Elder Dragon? It doesn't actually tell us, but I think it's probably got, what, 40 seconds left?
I think it's still like a full minute.
Okay, okay. Glacial Prisoners used from both sides as he escapes the hook. Wako is stunned up though. QSS to get away, and Woody's ult used also.
Yeah, I think they might need to back off though. They need to get Wako something to lifesteal. If he can heal off these creeps maybe. Okay, is getting access to the creeps, so is able to heal back up. Can keep pressuring. Hook is used as well. They can get really aggressive.
So much damage coming out. Massive ult by the sniper. Cruscada does use that ultimate to get away. No one really looking to be hit. And Yubel takes out Hanabi with that Elder execute as everyone else is looking to go down as well. Can Cruscada find anything? I don't think so. And after 52 minutes, we will find a winner, and it will be PSG and especially Wako.
I mean, what a game, man. I don't even know what to say. Really well fought, I think, from the side of DCG. It was very close, and they kept it very competitive for so long. But PSG, their team fighting is just a tiny bit better. And ultimately, it gets them the win. MVP, I think, has to go to Wako. I mean, the man on screen there just does so much damage every single fight, but really well played by Cruscada as well. I mean, man, we know which role's the most OP now, for sure.
That's right, and that's middle lane.
What? No shot. No, okay, but the game, I think there was so many moments in those team fights where if someone plays like a tiny bit better, things go differently, but wow, I mean, honestly, despite DCG losing, it's kind of like when Impunity lost to PSG. They pushed them so hard that if that's the DCG we see in playoffs, like, they can be a real contender, because I don't think that was a weak PSG by any means. I don't think that was them underperforming. DCG just played really damn well.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And to your point, like, I don't think anyone in PSG particularly played badly. It really was just